Guys, Evan Mobley, 16 points in the first half. It was a playoff career high. He made 2 threes in the first quarter, completely changed how the Orlando Magic had to guard this Cleveland Cavaliers offensive attack. G, I'll start with you. How impressive is what Evan Mobley did in the first half, and does that make what he didn't do in the second half that much more frustrating?
No, I think the way you got to look at it when you talk about playoff basketball is by any means necessary. Sometimes you're going to get some buckets from a lot of guys. You're going to ask in the playoffs to get some production from everybody. You're going to need to get it from, some days it's going to be Mobley, some days it's going to be Karis LeVert, some days Max Strus got to step up, Niang, so on and so forth. I think what he did was he was the catalyst for what they wanted to do, and he set it up in a way, because we've talked about Evan Mobley hitting threes. When you come out and hit 2 straight three-pointers and he's the 4 or 5 guy, now that changes the way that Orlando has to guard you. Now you got to pick your poison. If he's going to stretch the 4 like that, you're going to bring guys like Isaacs out of the paint. You're going to have guys looking at you. And then when they run pick and roll with him, now there's an option for Evan Mobley to pick and pop. Now he can pick and he can kind of pop, or if they want to switch that, he can get a little man on him, and now you can go to work down low. So it's set up the way the Cavs wanted to really work. And when he's able to hit that, it gives Jared Allen more opportunity to get offensive rebounds because he has more space, or to get the ball down and work down low. So, he hit those 2 threes and kind of set the tone for what they was trying to do. And I think off of that, you started to see Donovan Mitchell have a little more space. You started to see other guys have a little more space to drive and kick. In terms of what he's going to do coming out in the second half, it's just about, I think, Donovan and Darius understanding what they want to do, right? In this game, Donovan was like, okay, it's kind of stagnant a little bit. I think I need to take over. But in other games, they may come out and say, look, hey, Evan, you got somebody on you, you're wearing them out, we're going to go down to you the first 2 or 3 times. You know what I'm saying? Right. Go to work. So it's just about them seeing that. And when they see that, Earl, then you can work, and other people can kind of figure out where they work off that. But I think you did a good job of setting the tone for what the Cavs wanted to do.
I think he did a damn good job. I think J.B. Bickerstaff or whoever came up with the game plan of, okay, let's make sure we get Evan Mobley going early to get his confidence boosted. I thought that was a great game plan to start the game. You come out there, man, and you hit those 2 threes. It's funny, before I walked over to the game, I was on the radio with Danny Cunningham, and, he said that for him, if Evan Mobley hit 10 threes in this series, hands down the Cavs will win. So he's already hit 2. I guess you got 8 more to go. I thought that how he asserted himself early on as far as, like, scoring the basketball, it helped everybody else on the team, as far as floor spacing, helped them do their thing. But even when the scoring stopped in the second half, for him to grab, 4 or 5 rebounds in the second half, still have those 2 block shots, and just coming up in crucial moments, like, he didn't disappear. We've always known Evan Mobley to be inconsistent when it comes to scoring the ball, but the one thing that I got to get a man credit for, ever since he stepped foot into this league, he's been a premier defender, right? Yes. And that is huge for somebody that young to be that great of a defender in the NBA already. And so I never was really off the Evan Mobley hype train, because I think that there's so many different aspects to his game and so many different tools that he has in his toolbox. I think that once we start seeing the scoring come on a consistent basis, everybody will be more comfortable about his potential going forward.
I hope we get to that point. I hope we see it. What's so frustrating about him, and I have to keep reminding myself how young this kid, he's a kid. And I have to keep reminding myself of that, because sometimes my criticism of him is over the top and unfair. Now, I say that to say this. I fell off the Evan Mobley hype train 10 games into this season, and here's why. We were told he went to the lab with the pen and the pad and was going to come with all these low-post moves, and he was going to recreate, and we were going to see a different Evan Mobley. I want that so badly, and I really didn't. I saw the same guy. And so for me, the hype train was a bullet train going 500 miles an hour, and I was on it early on. But now it's kind of like a commuter train, and it's going 120, and it stops at a lot of places. And that's where Evan Mobley is to me in his progression. I've seen small steps, him hitting threes with confidence. He had a 3, I think it was against Indiana late in the year, that was the game-winning shot. Yep. And my mind was blown. I said, that's not The Evan Mobley I know
Against Philly.
Philly, you're right. That's the guy I want to see. The guy who's not afraid with the game in the balance to take that 25-foot shot. I was stunned at that. I'll be honest. I was blown away. And the fact that he made it, you could see how much it meant to his teammates. Not in the micro. It was great. They were going to win the game. They were excited about that. But they were also looking at the kid who we were told was going to be a home run hitter, but he hit a lot of doubles, and then he finally hit one over the fence. Right. And we're like, oh, the lid is, the cork is out of the bottle now, and there's no putting it back. And then we saw those 2 threes early yesterday. And then he just stopped. He just inexplicably stopped. And I want Mike to explain, was that more Cleveland deciding we can do other things, or was that more Orlando saying we can't survive if he's going to get off like that? So then they put a lot more pressure and attention on him.
Jay, do you believe that that's a function of him being a big, like he doesn't, it's kind of like he doesn't have he's not a traditional like 3. Like, if you're a 3, LeBron and KD or something, you can get the ball and you can take it.
Yeah, and I know where you're going with this, because the ball isn't in his hands to start so much. That is the flow of the game is dictated by the point guard.
Yes.
Right.
Who gets the ball, who gets involved. It's up to the point guard to know when someone's got a fever, and you keep feeding the fever. Mm-hmm. And I don't know if it was Donovan or if it was Darius that just wasn't going to him and they weren't forcing him to get involved. I'm not sure what it was. I really want to hear Mike talk about it because I don't know. But for me, like, I fell off the hype train around game 10. Mm-hmm. I still love the guy. Right. I still think he's going to be a very, very good player. What I've moved on from is that he's the unicorn and he's going to be Kevin Durant reincarnated. I have moved on from that. And I'm not back. Look, if he comes back next year and actually does add some low post moves and he does have a little bit more confidence in the 3 and can shoot around 35% from 3, then okay, he can be that guy.
I
but
think
right now
he's more of a. I think if you told me Evan Mobley can get to 23 and 12,
I'd take it.
23, 12, 2 blocks.
I take it.
And he shoots about maybe 32, 33% behind the arc.
I think all of that is stuff that we would take.
That would be. You
get 7 or 8 more points per game out of him.
Right.
3 more per game out of him.
Yeah.
The defense is there. What's crazy about him is defensively, he is a superstar.
He is.
He is a defensive superstar. To round his game out to where you can say he is a league superstar, and by that we mean he can be the guy that in any given moment, in any given series can say, jump on my back, boys.
Right.
I'm taking you there. Donovan does that. I don't think Mobley is there yet.
That means any given night I can give you 30.
Right. You need it tonight?
You need 30,
I'll reach down and I'll get it. Doesn't have to do it every night.
Yeah.
But when you become, it's like in national defense, it's strength through power. Mm-hmm. When you're a threat, nobody wants to bully you. Mm-mm. And when he's a threat and he can beat you multiple ways, the reason he is the golden key that unlocks all of this team's potential is because he's the guy that teams know, oh, we can stop him offensively. We can shut him out. And until he gets to the point where he can, on any given night, go for 30, I don't think this team will ever crawl to its highest potential.
He's the proverbial, he's with the over cliche X factor. He's the guy, so say for instance, he's the guy you play the Cleveland Cavaliers, and you're like, okay, well, what do we got to stop when we play the Cleveland Cavaliers? Well, we know what they got in Donovan Mitchell.
And it starts with him.
Starts with him. Okay, Jared Allen, he's a hustle guy, put back guy, energy. We just don't need to let him get 20 rebounds, right? And then you say, okay, well, Darius Garland, he's slider frame. We need to be on him in his body. We need to be pushing him. We need to be physical with him. But the guy that unlocks all of that is, if Evan Mobley is killing you, then it opens. You can't be physical with Darius Garland. You got to play him one-on-one. And now Jared Allen might get 20 rebounds because he's operating like that.
He makes everyone better. He's hitting everything.
Yeah. So if they get to that, Kobe Altman's prize might be right if they could get Mobley right.
So, Mike, I'm really going to lean on you here to tell us X's and O's wise, what was going on? What did Orlando do that worked? Who you think made the best adjustments throughout the game? Who would you give the gold star to from a strictly coaching standpoint? How does that all play out?
Well, we're going to do some more of this next segment, but we'll focus on just the Mobley stuff here. We'll start with the 2 threes. After they made the 2 threes, Donovan and JB Bickerstaff both said in the postgame, Orlando completely changed how they were guarding the pick and roll. We saw 3 different looks afterwards. I'm going to show you 2 of those different looks.
Okay.
I thought one of them was a really smart adjustment from Jamal Mosley on Orlando's side, which is part of the reason Evan Mobley, his only 2 shot attempts in the second half were threes.
Right.
So we'll show you the 2 threes he made. Then we'll show you 2 separate coverages Orlando tried to go to counteract, leaving him wide open.
This is great stuff.
One of them worked. One of them didn't work, and I'll show you why. So this was the first 3 he made. Essentially the same 2 things in both his first threes. Steve, you can play the clip whenever you're ready. But they just said, Paolo, you're not have to guard Evan. Leave him open. If he makes threes, he makes threes. It's going to repeat. I'll spot shadow some stuff, but Paolo Banchero's guarding Evan Mobley.
So he's wide open weak side, right?
Yeah, he's going to come in. He's going to sag the roll. He's going to go help off Jared Allen. That leaves Evan Mobley wide open in the corner. Step, shoot, make. That's what you got to do. They're going to give you that shot. You got to step up. You got to make it.
So that's Donovan drawing all kinds of attention when he penetrates.
And Paolo sagging off to help the roll. So
right.
Paolo sags, and he'll spot shadow again here, but he's going to be there. Stop Jared Allen. You can't dump it down. That's what you give and take. That's why you need the spacing in the corner. Steve, go to the next one. Darius Garland's the ball handler on this one. Similar situation. Paolo still guarding Evan Mobley. He's going to come down. Evan rotates up. Great
Wide
rotation. Open. Paolo takes Jared Allen. Suggs should rotate out. Watch how slow and lazy Suggs' closeout is, which essentially tells you the game plan is let him shoot.
And, Mike, I like the drift right there. You see how he drifted? Like
yeah, great.
He
It's
relocated?
a great 2 steps up. Better passing angle, better shot. So it's just same thing. They said, Evan, we're going to let you shoot. We're not worried about it. And you could tell by nothing else than Jalen Suggs' half-ass closeout there.
Yeah,
They're
it
not
was
worried
a
about
terrible
Evan Mobley shooting.
closeout.
Yeah. So that was the initial coverage. Then they switched. Steve, go to the next one. They decided we're just going to switch.
Now
Evan,
this
you're
is
beating us from
this is
3.
during their scoring desert right here.
Yeah,
Like this is early second quarter.
Early second quarter. This was his, in my opinion, his best post move ever. They said, okay, we're just going to switch the pick and roll because we don't think you're going to take us to the post. That's not something the Cavs look for. That's a big little mismatch. You have to attack that every time. That's when Evan needs to be as aggressive, call for the ball. Darius does a great job delivering
Hey,
to him.
we call that child
And they should
protective
have no-
services.
they should not
Somebody
be able
go
to
get
stop
you.
that.
Somebody check on that little boy.
Also, look at his ankles.
That's just a great post move. He should score in that situation 10 out of 10 times.
Now, also, kudos to Garland for recognizing the huge size mismatch
Yes.
and knowing I've got to get the ball into the paint to Evan.
And that's where Evan needs to be aggressive, call for the ball.
Asking
Darius does a
for it.
great job finding it. So they tried to switch. Now, that was the first adjustment they made. The next one I'm going to show you, Steve, don't take it yet, is a great counter to this. So they just switched, right? Cavs notice it. They say, okay, if you're going to switch, we're going to go right to Evan in the post. Steve, take the next one. This was a great counter here from the Magic. They switch, and they switch again. Gary Harris was initially guarding. That ends up instead of Evan on Jonathan Isaac. On Gary Harris,
Isaac
it ends up being Jonathan Isaac on Evan Mobley, which is a mismatch for the Cavs in an offensive favor.
Yeah.
They switch. Harris and Isaac switch at the last second. The ball's already being passed. So Isaac thinks he has a big little mismatch in the post. Well, it turns into a big, big mismatch. Isaac's tremendous in the post.
Now,
that was a quick little adjustment they made on the fly.
Why doesn't Mobley just kick it back to Okoro?
I don't think he realized the switch happened. Watch Evan when he catches. He turns. He's going to roll. He has Gary on his shoulder. Plant my ass. I'm posting up here. I'm sealing.
Right.
He looks.
He seals and turns around.
He doesn't know he's
he doesn't
there.
even know.
Yeah.
Great little adjustment from Jamal Mosley and the Magic to get the mismatch, whatever, big on big.
You know what,
the
though?
counter to that, real quick, if you watch this again, is Isaac can't make that pass so quick, and Jared Allen has to flash to the high post. And then you get the big little mismatch of Jared at the high post on Gary Harris, who then switched with Jonathan Isaac. So it's a chess match within the game. This happened so quick. This is why Orlando's really good defensively. They're long, good communication. But that's where Jared Allen has to flash to the high post, and you have the 2-on-1 on the backside.
So JB has to make him aware of that. And Jared Allen, when he sees that switch, he could call it out, and then he has to flash.
And here's the other thing. There was 8 seconds left on the shot clock. Now, I know what you're saying. When he caught the ball in the low post, he had no idea that the switch had happened. So he didn't know that Isaac was on him. But if you notice, he pivots and dribbles, and he realizes that Isaac's in his face. He doesn't have anything. If you play it one more time, what I'm saying he should have kicked it to Okoro is after he pump fakes, Okoro is standing there. Watch what happens here. So he's going to get it, dribble, pumps right there. He could have.
Oh, he definitely could kick it out.
He could have kicked it to Okoro and try it again. There's 8 seconds left. Reset and try something else.
It's not a great shot for Mobley.
I'd rather Evan Mobley take that shot than Isaac Okoro.
No, I'm not suggesting Okoro
No,
shoot
you're right,
from there.
right.
You've got 8 seconds. Let Okoro start to trigger something new.
Yeah, I think 8 seconds is more than enough time to kind of reset and
it's
get
not like it's 4 seconds.
A better quality
4 seconds, you don't do it because now Okoro does have to shoot the ball.
Yeah.
But with 8 seconds left, and all this is happening so quickly, I agree with Mike. He had no idea the switch happened, but he did know once he put the ball and turned to the hoop, he knew that Isaac was in his face.
You know what's so funny, Mike? Back in the day when I was in college, we used to do that same move. We'd be on the dance floor dancing, and all of a sudden, a girl switch. You'd be like, "Oh, you didn't even know I was dancing with you. You didn't even know I was dancing with you. I was with your friend, but I'm over here with you because you look better."
Switch.
You didn't even know. They like, who is this big?
And you know it.
You didn't even know it. By the way, you go to jail for that now, dude. Don't do that in 2024.
Now, did you have friends setting pics for you?
Oh yeah, listen, I had my brother was in college. He set the screen. I'm over there. I came free. Came free with my shoulders ready to shoot, Jay.
That is a great analogy.
Y'all are crazy.
It will be fascinating to see how Orlando goes back. Are they going to allow Mobley to shoot again? You made him in game 1. Can you make him in game 2?
Who won the coaching adjustments?
I mean, JB won. They held him to 83 points. Defensively, they had every answer to what Orlando was trying to do. But we'll see the counters. Game 1 is all about in-game adjustments. Now that's on tape. What's the counter to the counter?
Yeah.
And I'm curious what you guys think will be some adjustments we see tonight. And I'm going to ask you guys that question in just a second.
Okay.